My family held a vote to steal my 7-year-old daughter's bedroom while I was saving lives at the hospital. They didn't yell. They didn't warn me. They just erased her entire existence from that room. Bed gone, dresser gone, even the stars on the ceiling rolled over in gray primer. When I came home after a 16-hour double shift, my mother stood in the hallway with her arms folded and said the words that broke something in me. "We voted. You don't get a say. But here's the thing about votes in a house that doesn't belong to you. They don't matter. If you love watching entitled family members get absolutely wrecked without a single scream, hit that like button and subscribe to the Payback Vault. Trust me, you don't want to miss the math on this one. Let me back up 3 days, because that empty room didn't come out of nowhere. I'm Donna Atwood, 33 years old, a single mother and a nurse for 8 years. Most of those years were night shifts because nights pay a little more, and a little more was the whole plan. I saved every spare dollar in a credit union account I never touched. 2 years ago, that account became a small brick house on Coldwater Lane with a crooked porch and a kitchen from the 1980s. It was mine. The first thing that had ever been only mine. No ex-husband's name on it. No parents co-signing. Just Donna Atwood, RN, on a piece of paper that weighed almost nothing but meant everything. The second week we lived there, Lily asked if her ceiling could be the sky. So we bought glow paint and a bag of stick-on stars. We spent a whole Sunday on a stepladder, making our own constellations. She named one after our cat, Biscuit. She named another after me. When the lights went out, the whole room turned soft and blue, and she would whisper goodnight to each star like they could hear her. That was the room. That was the ceiling. That was the one place in the world that belonged completely to a little girl who had already lost her father to indifference and her mother to 12-hour shifts. I thought at least that was safe. 3 years ago, before the house, my father had open-heart surgery. He came through it, thank God, but the recovery was long and money was tight. My mother asked if they could stay with me, just until Dad was back on his feet. My younger sister Brooke came too because Brooke always came too. Just until. Those are 3 of the most dangerous words in the English language. Dad got back on his feet. Then he got back into his recliner. 3 years passed, and nobody ever talked about leaving. By the time I bought Coldwater Lane, the 3 of them simply moved in with me, the way water moves into a low spot. I let it happen. That was my first mistake. I was busy keeping a small girl alive and fed and loved, and I told myself that having extra bodies in the house was fine. Family helps family, right? That's what my mother said every time I came home too tired to argue. Here is how a house stops being yours without anyone signing anything. It starts with the coffee mugs. My mother rearranged my cabinets the first week so the mugs were where she liked them. Then the calendar on the fridge became her calendar. Then the good chair at the dinner table became my father's chair. You learn not to sit in it. You learn to shrink. By the second year, my mother had a word she used for everything. Family. "We don't keep score in this family," she would say, while literally keeping score. "We share everything in this family," she would say, sharing my groceries, my electricity, my patience. She said it the way some people say a prayer, like the words themselves made a thing true. And I let her, because correcting her cost energy I did not have. After a 13-hour shift, you do not pick a fight about mug placement. You pick your battles. The problem was, I stopped picking any battles at all. I just kept my head down and clocked in and out. Brooke was 29 and trying to be famous. She had a ring light, a tripod, and a phone full of videos nobody watched. Wellness, she called it. Home and harmony. She filmed herself folding towels and talking about intention. The account had 400 followers, and 3 of them were my mother's bridge friends. Brooke needed a real space. She said that a lot. A real space to film. A real space to grow the brand. She would look around the small house when she said it, the way a person looks at a parking spot they intend to take. I just didn't know yet that the parking spot was my daughter's ceiling. My father said almost nothing. He watched his shows and let my mother speak for him. He had become a man-shaped silence in a recliner. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself that for 3 years. Lily and I had our room of stars. I thought at least that was safe. I thought nobody would be cruel enough to take a 7-year-old's painted sky. I underestimated how easily adults convince themselves that what they want is what the family needs. That's the thing about entitled people. They never see themselves as villains. They see themselves as practical. The Tuesday before the double shift, we had spaghetti for dinner. That detail stuck with me. Spaghetti, garlic bread, a normal Tuesday. Brooke set down her fork and said it like a weather report. "I've been thinking about the studio thing." My mother nodded before Brooke even finished. The way you nod at a plan you already know. "I just need a real space," Brooke said, spreading her hands like it was the most reasonable thing. Good light. A door that closes. Her eyes drifted down the hall toward the only door that mattered to me. "That's Lily's room." "It's a big room for one little kid," Brooke added. "She's 7, I said, keeping my voice flat. Lily was right there building a fort out of couch cushions, pretending not to listen. Children always listen. "She's supposed to be at school during the day," I said. My mother folded her napkin into a neat square. "Donna, nobody is deciding anything tonight. We're just talking as a family." There it was again. Family. The word that always came right before someone took something from me. I set my glass down. "The answer is no. It's her room." Brooke rolled her eyes and looked at our mother, and our mother gave her a small, patient smile. The smile said, "Don't worry." The smile said, "Leave it to me." I should have understood that smile. I was tired and I missed it. Later, I tucked Lily in. She held Biscuit, the gray stuffed rabbit she'd had since she was 2, missing one button eye. "Mama, can we add more stars when you're home?" she asked. "Of course, baby," I said, tracing one of the painted stars above her bed. "All the stars you want." She fell asleep under our painted sky. I had a double shift the next day. I kissed her head and went to pack my bag. I didn't know that when I walked out that door at 6:15 a.m., I was walking out of a house that was already being taken apart behind my back. Morning came too early, the way it always does after a short night. I worked at St. Bridges, the regional hospital, 20 minutes up Route 9. A double shift meant I'd leave before Lily woke and come home after she slept. I hated those days. I worked them anyway because the mortgage did not care how I felt. I got dressed in the dark. My badge hung on its blue lanyard by the door where it always hung. Donna Atwood, RN. I put it over my head, and the little laminated card settled against my chest like it weighed something. Lily woke up just enough to find me before I left. She padded into the kitchen in her socks, hair everywhere, Biscuit dangling from one hand. "Are you working the long one?" she asked. "The long one," I said. "But Grandma will get you from school." She wrapped both arms around my waist and squeezed. "Paint more stars when you're home, Mama," she said into my scrubs. "I promise," I said, kissing the top of her head. "Be good. I love you to the moon." To the moon and the dog star. That was our thing. I left at 6:15 a.m. The sky was the color of dishwater. I remember the house in my mirror, small and quiet. My whole world asleep inside it. By noon, my phone started buzzing in my locker. Buzz, buzz, buzz. 3 calls from my mother. 2 texts from Brooke. One from a number I didn't know. I couldn't answer it. I was in a trauma bay with a man whose heart was trying to quit, and there is no pausing that. People who don't work in hospitals don't understand. Some hours you simply cannot have your phone. I told myself it could wait 1 more hour. That hour cost me. We lost the man with the failing heart. Then we got him back, twice. By the time he was stable and upstairs, 2 hours had gone by and my hands were still shaking. The good kind of shake. The kind that means you did the work right. Renata, the charge nurse, found me at the supply station. 61 years old, gray braid, no patience for nonsense. She has buried 2 husbands and raised 4 kids and seen everything twice. "You look like a woman whose phone won't stop," she said. "My family," I said. "Probably about a room." "Family," Renata repeated, making the word sound like a diagnosis. Eat something before you call them back. You can't pour from an empty pot. I laughed because she was right. I ate a granola bar standing up. In the back of my mind, there was a folder in the bottom drawer of my dresser. The deed, the mortgage, the survey of the lot. Later came at 9:40 p.m. when I pulled into my own driveway and saw every light in the house burning. The front door was unlocked. Inside, the house smelled like fresh paint and packing tape. I walked down the hall to Lily's room and stopped in the doorway. Her bed was gone. Her dresser was gone. Half the ceiling, our sky, was streaked with gray primer, the stars drowning under it. Brooke knelt in the middle of the floor with a tape gun, sealing a box marked Lily in black marker. A ring light stood in the corner, already plugged in, already glowing. "Where is my daughter?" I asked. My voice was very quiet. People who know me know that's the dangerous one. My mother appeared behind me in the hall, arms folded, chin up. "She's with her father for a few days," she said. "Travis hasn't seen her in 5 months. He's still her father." My mother lifted her chin a little higher. "We talked it over. All of us, we voted. You don't get a say." We voted. "You don't get a say." I have replayed those 8 words more times than I can count, said in my own hallway about my own child, in front of my own daughter's boxed-up life. Brooke didn't even look up from her tape gun. "It's actually a really good room for filming. The light is amazing in the afternoon." I looked at the gray streaks where the stars used to be. I looked at the box with my child's name on it. I felt something in my chest go cold and clear and very, very still. People expect a mother to scream here, to throw something, to melt down. I didn't. I set my keys on the windowsill. "Okay," I said. "Tell me exactly what you all decided." Here is a thing I learned in the trauma bay. When everything is on fire, you slow down. You ask questions. You find out what is actually true before you touch anything. So I did not scream. I asked, "When did Lily leave?" "This afternoon," my mother said. "Right after school. Travis picked her up. Did anyone call me?" "We tried. You didn't answer." She said it like the missed calls were proof of something. Like a working mother who can't answer at noon had already lost the argument. "What did you tell Travis?" A small pause. The first crack. "That you needed a break," my mother said. "That you were overwhelmed and asked if he could take her a few days." "I never asked that." "Well," she smoothed her sleeve, "somebody had to think of the practical side." The practical side was my 7-year-old in a car with a man she barely remembered, because 3 adults in my house wanted a bedroom. I picked up Biscuit from the half-packed box, walked to my car, and called Travis. Travis answered on the second ring. "Donna," he said. "Hey, I was going to call you." In the background, I heard a television and the small, specific sound of my daughter not talking. Lily talks constantly when she's happy. Silence from her is a fire alarm. "Put Lily on in a minute," I said. "First, tell me what my mother told you." He sighed. "Your mom called this morning. Said you were burned out. Said you needed a few days and asked if I'd take Lily. She made it sound like you set it up." "I didn't set anything up." A long pause. "I figured something was off," he admitted. "Lily cried the whole drive. Kept asking when you were coming."
I closed my eyes and breathed the way I teach scared patients to breathe in for 4, hold out for 4. "It's not your fault," I said, and I meant it. "You were lied to. I'm going to come get her tonight if you'll let me." "Course," he said, relief leaking into his voice. I drove 45 minutes, got my girl, and brought her home. On the drive, Lily fell asleep with Biscuit tucked under her chin. That's when the plan finished forming. Not a fight. I am bad at fights, and I find them undignified. What I was going to give my family was a correction. Quiet, complete, and impossible to vote against. The next day, Brooke left her tablet on the kitchen counter. The screen was still glowing on a group chat named Atwood House with a little house emoji. I was not in it. My mother, my father, Brooke. Even my Aunt Carol, 2 states away, everyone named Atwood except the Atwood whose name was on the deed. I read 6 weeks of messages. 6 weeks of planning how to move my child out and themselves further in. "We'll just present it as a family vote." My mother had written, She won't fight the whole family. She never does. She had counted on my calm. My silence wasn't peace to them. It was a green light. I did not cry. I did not throw the tablet. I took out my own phone and photographed every message. Then I called the lawyer Renata recommended Patricia Vance, a pit bull in pearls. I told her everything: the house, the deed, the 3 years of no rent, the group chat. The quitclaim deed my mother had partially filled out with a sticky note that said, "Get Dee to sign. Tell her it's for the fire insurance." Patricia was quiet while I talked. Then she said a family vote has no legal weight. None. You could hold a vote about who owns the moon. It would mean exactly as much. I let out a breath I think I'd been holding for 3 years. By Friday, everything was filed. 3 notices to vacate, 1 for each adult. 30 days. Legally served. Certified mail. My mother collected the mail on Thursday, frowned at the certified envelopes, and dropped all 3 in the basket by the door, where she threw what she called junk. She didn't open them. She was so sure nothing official could be aimed at her in my house that she filed her own eviction under junk mail. I watched from the kitchen window and said nothing. Saturday was the day of Brooke's launch. The photographer was coming. The brand collaborators. Mrs. Okoffer from next door. They wanted an audience. I decided to give them one. Saturday morning, I clipped my hospital badge to my collar, even though it was my day off. I wanted to walk into that room as exactly who I am. Donna Atwood, RN, the calm in the loud room. By 10 a.m., my small house was full of strangers being polite. Devin, the photographer, was checking the light. 2 brand women were cooing about the creative space. My mother was radiant, moving through the crowd like a gallery owner. Then I stepped into the middle of the room, held up the deed, and spoke in my ordinary indoor voice. Before the toast, I said, "Can I ask Mom to explain something for our guests?" My mother's smile held, but her eyes sharpened. "We did take a vote," she said to the room, performing warmth. "We're a close family. We make decisions together." Donna was outvoted 4-1. She doesn't get a say in everything just because she's the oldest. There it was, out loud, in front of witnesses. "Thank you," I said softly. "I just wanted to be sure that's the version we're going with." Then I laid out the deed. "This is the deed to this house. There's exactly 1 name on it, mine, Donna Atwood. No one else." The room went silent. Devin lowered his camera. The brand women stopped smiling. I didn't stop. I pulled out the 3 notices to vacate. "You've got these on Thursday," said. "Certified mail. I watched you put them in the junk basket without opening them. So let me read you the headlines. Notice to vacate. 30 days. Legally served. 1 for you, Mom. 1 for Dad. 1 for Brooke." My mother's face drained of color. "You can't evict family," she whispered. "My lawyer says I can." I said, "You've never paid rent. You never signed a lease. In the eyes of the law, you're guests who were asked to stay and are now being asked to go." Brooke made a small sound like the air going out of a balloon. "My launch," she said. "My collaborators are right here." "They are," I said, not unkindly. "They've been here for the whole thing." Then I pulled out the final piece of paper, the quitclaim deed. Half filled in my mother's handwriting with the sticky note photographed in the corner. "This is a quitclaim deed," I said, holding it up. "My mother started filling this out 2 weeks ago to add herself to my house. She wrote a note to herself right here. Get Dee to sign. Tell her it's for the fire insurance." One of the brand women picked up her bag. "Brooke," she said carefully, "I think we're going to head out." The photographer was already coiling his cables. The cold little moon in Lily's room died. Mrs. Okafor was the last to leave. She paused by me at the table. "You painted that child's stars," she said quietly. "I remember. You did right." Then she squeezed my arm and let herself out. My mother tried tears. "How can you do this to me? I'm your mother." I let her cry. I didn't rush to fix it the way I would have a year ago. I just waited until the worst of it passed. "Mom," I said softly, I think you got so scared of being nobody that you've tried to make yourself the center of a house that isn't yours. But being afraid doesn't give you a vote on my child's bedroom. That part is finished. Brooke left within the week. My parents took the full 30 days. On their last morning, my father stood on the porch and nodded at me once. "You did right, Donna," he said. Then the truck pulled away, and the house was quiet in a way it hadn't been in 3 years. That weekend, Lily and I bought glow paint and a fresh bag of stars. We rolled clean white over the gray primer and put the sky back star by star. She named one after the cat again. She named one after me. And we added a new one, low near the window. "That's the home star," she said. "So we always know where home is." People think the strongest thing you can do is shout. It isn't. The strongest thing I ever did, I did in a soft voice with a sheet of paper in my hand. There was no vote. There was a deed. And that deed said one name, mine. If this story hit home, hit that subscribe button for the Payback Vault. I'll see you in the next one.